Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie and let's get started. For DIY number 1, I'm going to begin with this wood slice from the Dollar Tree. It's the rectangular one, pretty good size on a jute twine. And I'm going to take some of these leaves and packets of sunflowers that my sweet friend Norma gave me. She gave me a ton of these and I was so grateful for her. I'm just going to take some of these and I'm going to choose the ones that look more detailed, which are these here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, hot glue, and place it on the back of this corner. And then I'll just go ahead and go around the whole edge on the back like this. This is the way it looks on the back. This is the way it looks on the front. Now I'm going to take a couple of these sunflowers. These are made out of paper. They're really, really adorable. I think they are gorgeous. I love these. When they first came out with these, everybody was in love with these things, and they're still so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and figure I'm going to put one in here on this corner, and then I'll take another one and place it on this corner. Just right now, I'm just staging it. I'm going to take some of these smaller ones. These are super, super cute. And I'm going to take just two, take this one out, and then I'm going to twist them together and place them back. And I'll do the same thing for the second one. Just twist, super, super easy. Place it back. And now I'll just flip the whole thing over and adhere it with some hot glue and the existing leaves that are on there. Kind of push them down. And I do use my silicone spatula just because it is hot glue. Just kind of press it and it'll stay. And it's super cute. Like this. Now in my stash, I still had some of these woodwords that came out a couple years ago. This one says give thanks. And I'm going to take some of the apple barrel paint in the color jack-o'-lantern. It's just an orange, and a small brush, and I'm just going to gently brush some of this paint on here. Not a perfect paint coat, just a little bit like this. And I think that would look really adorable. All the colors just go together so well. Now for contrast, I'm going to take some of this burlap ribbon that I had in my stash. I think I got this one on Amazon, and it's about 2 or 3 inches wide. And I'm going to take my scissors and snip off these edges because I want to fray all the edges just to give it that very interesting look, that rustic look. And we will be using some of these edges later on, you'll see. So here I'm just removing some of these fibers just to fray up the edges a little bit. And then I'll just trim up this little piece here that was kind of sticking up. Look at that, it's going to fit just nicely. Not too perfectly, but just enough. Now I'm going to take some of the Beacon Fabri-Tech fabric glue, and I'm going to adhere this piece of burlap fabric or burlap ribbon with this. Now this stuff's very sticky, but it works so well. So if you've never used it, you got to try it. Like I said, it's real sticky, real gummy, but it works fantastically. Now I'm going to place it on there and just kind of pat it down. Nothing oozes out. Now here is my little give thanks, and I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue for this one because it's quick. Just gently, little bits, and then press it on top of everything. And I really like this look. I think this is adorable. Now this packet of leaves had some of the burlap ones in them, and I love these. I'm going to use a green one and then an orange one and place them together right here. And then I'm going to take another sunflower, one of the larger ones, and I'm going to snip off the little wire. That way I can adhere it flush, add some hot glue, and place it on top. Now for these little fibers, I don't want to waste anything, so I'm going to take these, gather them together as best I can, and then I'm just going to make a nice little knot in the very center. Get it nice and even, like this. I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and then place it underneath these leaves, and it just gives it a little natural element and texture. Snip off the ends. Now I did go to the Dollar Tree to get some ribbon, and I was a little shocked to find out that these are now $1.50. This little red dot, they're $1.50. So I was a little bit shocked. So I'm just taking this ribbon, which I really like, and I'm just going to create a little bow, just real quick little bow. Just get the tails and the loops to my liking. by adjusting and pulling like this. And then I'm just gonna snip it off on the ends in a diagonal, add a little bit of hot glue, and place it on the very tippy top of my whole sign like this. I'm going to take one more of these teeny tiny sunflowers, snip off the wire, and add a little bit of hot glue and place it on the center of my tiny bow. And I think that is it. That's going to be it. Super cute. This is complete. Let me know what you think about it. And this is how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 2, I'm going to take this basket. I found this at a thrift store. It was half price, so it wasn't this price. And I really like the shape of it. So I'm going to remove this tag. And I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper to protect my surface. And I'm going to take my spray bottle of water and kind of soak up this wood. And I'm going to take my antique wax and a brush. And I'm just going to paint this antique wax with this water. I feel like the water allows everything to flow easier, and the antique wax seems to adhere better. Now I'm going to set this aside, allow this to dry. Now here it is, nice and dry. Now I'm going to take some of this wider burlap ribbon that I had in my stash. I believe I did get this from Amazon as well. This one is about 5 inches wide, 5 or 6 inches. And I'm just going to snip off a piece, and then I do tack it down. I don't show it, but I do tack it down on the sides, and I do fray the ends as well. Now I'm going to take this hula skirt that my sweet friend Norma gave me. She gave me a ton of these. I'll be using these for a good long time. But these are great for fall. They're almost like a raffia kind of texture, kind of look. So I'm just going to take out what I know I'm going to need. I won't take out everything. And I'm just going to cut this piece with my scissors. Put away the rest for another time. Now I'm just going to place everything in gently and loosely. Now I'm going to take some of these beautiful fall florals that my sweet friend Diane gave me. And I'm going to take this corn that I got from the Dollar Tree and fill up my basket like this. Now I'm really loving this. Looking cute. Now I'm taking this sweet little bow that I made with Dollar Tree ribbon. And I'm just going to place it above the sunflower on the front. Holding it there till it sets. And then I'm going to take the 2 tails and I'm going to press them behind the leaves, behind the flowers, or the flower, and I'm going to tack it on the sides of this basket, but lift it up a little bit to give it a little bit of fluidity, kind of look like it's kind of flowing. But basically I'm just tacking it down with a little bit of slack, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Just press it down, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to do one more little project for this basket. So I'm going to take the fibers that I had left from the burlap ribbon, and I'm going to take some of these floral picks and then some of these acorns I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to press an acorn in each of these little floral picks. These are just leftover little floral picks that otherwise would be trash. And then I'm going to take the little fibers. I'm going to take a few, maybe 3 or 4 or so, and I'm going to create like a little knot like I did in DIY number 1. But before completing the knot, I'm going to poke through the end of this floral pick and then tighten my knot, and then snipping off any loose ends, anything that's a little bit too long. And then I go ahead and do this to a few of these. I don't do them all, I just do a few, just enough to make it look cute. And then I just poke these in various places in my basket just for another added texture and interest. And then that is it for this one. And here's how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 3, I'm going to take 2 of these pumpkins. They're new from the Dollar Tree. And yes, look at that red dot. They are $1.50, but I think they are adorable, so I went ahead and got them. I'm going to remove the stems, or some people call them the peduncle. Now these pumpkins have like speckles on them. They make them look a little bit more high-end. So I really like that. I'm just going to take this small utility knife, and I'm just going to cut and score here around this top. And since they are styrofoam, this is easy to do. Just take my time and go around. Now to remove the inside, I'm taking my needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to poke inside so I get a good grip, and then just kind of squeeze and then pop it out like this. It'll be in pieces, but it does come out. And just try to be careful with that styrofoam because you know that stuff goes everywhere. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that one. And then I'll do the same thing with the second one. Just remove the tops. Here's one more little piece. Comes out pretty easily. Now I'll set these aside and put everything away. Now I'm going to take these two little straws that I had in my kitchen. They're just paper straws. And I'm going to cut them in half. And of course, they never cut in half perfectly, but that's okay. We'll use 2 for one and 2 for the other. And I'm trying to poke these inside this styrofoam, but the styrofoam is pretty dense. So I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to poke a hole and then place my straws inside, and I'll do the cut side in. That way the nice side is sticking out. So the cut side inside. And see, I'm just going to poke a hole and put the cut side in. And then the last one. And if you're thinking we're making a drink, yes we are. We're making a pumpkin spice drink. So I'm going to take my cup, it's like a little frosting cup, and a piping bag, piping bags from the Dollar Tree, and a craft stick. Snip off the piping bag. I have this little tip in my stash. It's just a star tip. I'll show you right here. And I'm going to place this bag over this cup and then set this aside for a second. Put everything away. Now I'm going to take my DAP Fast and Final spackle, and I'm down to the very bottom of it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use what's left. Add some paint. This is just acrylic paint in the white color. That way when it dries it'll be nice and bright white and it won't turn gray on me. And I'm taking my craft stick and mixing everything very well like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and place all the spackle mixture into my bag, and I'm just going to go ahead and use everything that's in here. And now carefully lift the piping bag up, and if you get some on your fingers, no big deal, it just wipes off really easily. And you know, it's got to be a little bit messy. Fun things are messy sometimes, just the way it is. Anyway, finally just gather it all together, push all the contents down into the piping tip, and then twist it, and now we're ready to pipe. So now I'm just going to go around the edge of my pumpkins and give it a decadent whipped cream look. Now I should have put something in the middle, but that's okay. I didn't use too much of this stuff. I just want to make it look good and creamy, and I want everything to adhere well. I'm just going to add a little bit more on the very edge like this, and then allow that to set a minute, see if anything's going to go down. And then here's the second one. I'll do the same thing, just go around. And I wanted to make something pumpkin spice. I don't think I've ever made anything pumpkin spice in my fall videos, so here we go. This one's going to be pumpkin spice. You'll see where the spice comes in a minute. I'm just filling in this inside, doing a little dollop here on the very top, and we'll use this whipped cream later on. So now for my spice, I'm going to take some cinnamon and just kind of sprinkle it on top. Oh my goodness, this made me crave some pumpkin spice drink. Look at that, so good, and it smells so nice. Oh my goodness. Now I'm just craving a pumpkin spice drink. And then here I'm just checking to make sure that none of the cinnamon is too loose. We're good to go. Now, speaking of cinnamon, I found these cinnamon sticks at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, oh my goodness, I need a cinnamon stick in my cinnamon drink. So I did remove a couple of the straws and added the cinnamon sticks. And now for a final touch, I'm just going to add these two little bows to the fronts. Oh wait, I did decide to stage them. So I'm taking one of these trays that my sweet friend Norma gave me from Target, and I'm just going to place them on top. And now this DIY is complete. And here's how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 4, I'm going to take one of these metal bottle caps from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to remove the jute twine. We're not going to use this at all. We won't be hanging this. And I'm going to take some wrap, the plastic cling wrap. This one's from the Dollar Tree. It worked really well. And I'm just going to place a nice layer On top of this, we're going to be creating a pumpkin tart. I would say pie, but it's not deep enough to be a pie, so we're just going to go with a tart. But it'll actually look like a pie. It just won't be deep. But I'm going to take this plastic and wrap this tin with it. That way I can remove the so-called crust and paint it and not paint my tin. Okay, so now here is some air dry clay. I got this nice brand new bucket from Amazon. And look at that, fresh clay. And I'm taking my little scraper tool. And I'm just going to take out what I need. I'm using this, that way I don't have to dig my nails in there. Take a nice another little chunk. Close this up, put it away for another time. Now I'm going to take this and use it as dough and just knead it. And just condition it. And this took me a little while, but I cut a lot of this process. But here I'm at the point now where I can roll it. And I'm taking my acrylic roller and I'm just going to roll. Try to get it more conditioned and kind of knead it. Now here I'm finally to the point where it's nice and together and it's very pliable now, nice and warm. I'm trying to figure out the size of this so I can cut a nice so-called crust with this clay. Pretty happy with it now, so I'm just going to push this down, use it like a cookie cutter, and it cuts it just perfectly. Even though it's got the plastic, it cuts it well. Now here's my piece. Look at that, like nice dough. I'm going to place that inside my tin and kind of tap it in place. Get it in those grooves in the bottom. Like get it nice and formed using my thumb and my fingers. Now I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm just going to set it to the side and allow this to dry and cure. I just did it for overnight. Now here's the rest of my scraps, and I'm just going to use these as well. I'm going to roll these out and I'm going to make some little pumpkin cookies. This will actually be for DIY number 5. So here's a little cookie cutter that I have. It's a little pumpkin cookie cutter, and I'm just going to cut a bunch of these little cookies like this, as many as I can, that way I don't waste any of this clay since it's already conditioned. And I'm pretty happy with this. Now I should have rolled this out on a piece of parchment paper. That would have helped me out, but I totally didn't think about it. So now I'm going to use my little scraper tool to get it off the mat without disturbing the form. So I'm just gently doing this part. Now here is my piece. Place it on my parchment paper and my little cookies, and setting this aside so it'll dry and cure as well. Now here's the next day. Everything's nice and dry. Look at that, looking great. Here's my little crust. Now I'm going to remove the plastic wrap and lift it up. It comes out great. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint it. That way I don't paint the tin. Now here's my little dish, and I'm going to use these two paints, the Territorial Beige and the Khaki by Apple Barrel. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Get that perfect toasty kind of color for a crust. And I'm just going to start painting it with a paintbrush very gently. And I don't do the underside because we won't be seeing it. Here's my crust. I'm pretty happy with the color. I'm going to take some of this jack-o'-lantern orange color by Apple Barrel, putting a little bit of that in there. Mix it up with my Territorial Beige and Khaki colors to create kind of a burnt orange kind of color. And I'm going to use a bamboo skewer to help me paint all these little pieces without getting paint all over myself. I try to work a little smarter and not too harder. I try anyway. It doesn't always work, but I try. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this whole piece because this will be, of course, pumpkin flavored, supposedly. Remember, this is supposed to be like realistic. So now I'm going to allow this to dry, and we'll see this again in DIY number 5. Now going back to my little tart. It's nice and dry. All the paint is dry. Place it back in my tin. Throw away this plastic wrap. It did its job. Now I'm going to take another little cup, and I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree resin, the A and the B. Here are the SKUs in case you're interested. Now these small bottles are good enough for this small project, but if you want to do a bigger project, I think a better price point would actually be a set from Amazon, which are the ones I usually use, but since I found these at Dollar Tree, I went ahead and grabbed them. So I'm going to place some gloves on my hands, and I'm just going to do equal amounts, and not too much. I do maybe like a third of a bottle of each bottle. And the way I measure is I just look at the bottle, see what's left in there, kind of compare it, and they're even, so they're equal amounts. Now I'm going to use some of my leftover paint. I only need a little bit to dye this resin, so I think this might be good enough. But as I'm mixing it, I'm realizing, no, it's a little bit too clear. So then I just decide to pour all the contents in my little glass dish, which now in hindsight, I probably should have just added my equal amounts of resin in this glass dish, but that's okay. So now I'm just going to mix to try to get that perfect pumpkin pie or pumpkin tart color, and I think I'm pretty happy with this color. So I'm going to pour the contents in my faux crust, try to get as much as I can out of this. Doesn't seem like a lot, but this will be enough. We just have to do a little bit of spreading. So I'm just going to tilt this in different directions to get it to fill this whole area. Just trying to go in like in a circular motion, taking my time. Now at this point I figured, okay, I don't want to start messing up, so let me just turn everything around, and now I'll use my craft stick to help fill in the rest. So I just kind of bring everything forward, kind of get all the sides, make that shape, that circular shape. Trying to get more of this resin just so I don't waste anything. Now I'm pretty happy, and I'm just filling it in. And now I'm at the point where it's pretty much filled. Just trying to get all the round edges like this. Don't have to do all this, but I just wanted to just get it till I'm happy with it. So just like this, just go around. Just like you would a real pie or tart. I'm pretty happy with it, I think. Still playing with it. Okay. So now I'm going to set this aside, allow this to set and cure. Here it is the next day, nice and set. Now I had some spackle left from the other project, so I'm going to go ahead and give it some whipped cream. I don't want to cover the faux crust because that was a lot of work, so just putting it right where the crust meets the resin to make it look like it's a realistic pie with whipped cream. Now my family, we like a lot of whipped cream, so I'll add some to the inside as well. And I start off with 4 little dots. Then I was looking at it and I thought, wait a minute, it doesn't look quite even, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some more. Now in my family, they would be very happy to see this. Now in the center, I'm going to add one of the little cookies, the shape as a pumpkin, and just kind of press it down. And now I can set this aside and allow all this faux whipped cream to dry and cure. Here it is, nice and dry, everything's ready. I'm going to go ahead and remove it from this baking dish again because I want to utilize these little holes that this bottle cap has. I'm just going to add some of this ribbon and placing the other end through the other side. And no, we're not making a hanger, although it would be cute to hang it up. I'm just going to take a little bit of hot glue and adhere these two ends together and pressing it against the wall of this bottle cap. Now placing my pie back inside, and now I'm just going to take a little bow that I made and adhering this to the ribbon on the side, and we'll be putting this on a pedestal so you'll be able to see the bow a little bit better. And here's how it looks, and a closer look at the final reveal. For DIY number 5, now we're going to finish up our little cookies. Here everything is nice and dry and set and cured, and I'm just going to take one of these little easels. My sweet friend Norma gave this to me, removing the tag, and I'm just going to take some of this burlap ribbon that I used earlier, this wide one, and now just figuring out how much I'm going to use. I'm going to go a little oversized, take a piece this size here and remove the edges, that way I can fray them. I just really like my burlap to be a little bit frayed. It just gives it that rustic look, and I really like it. And we always end up using the little fibers for something else, so you may see that some another time. So here I'm just removing all these little fibers just to fray the ends, And like I mentioned, this is oversized, but it needs to be for what I need. So now I'm just going to take some hot glue this time and just gently go around the edges, very gently, just tiny little bits of glue, and then pressing it down and tap, tap, tap with my fingers. And now I can take my little piece of dough. It's going to fit pretty perfectly now with the oversized burlap. And I'm just going to be very generous with my hot glue. Place it everywhere and gently flip it over, press it on top, and gently using my fingers to lift up the burlap onto the clay. Now I went back into my stash, and here's my little pack of fall words. So now I'm trying to figure out what I can put up top. I was going to go with blessed, but there's plenty of space for 2 words. So I decided to go with Hello Autumn, and it already has some antique wax. So now I'm just going to take some of the Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White and my chunky chippy brush and lightly dry brush some white to make it look a little bit more rustic and pull up all the details. Now I'm also going to do the same thing to my dough just to make it look like there's a little bit of flour everywhere. Just real lightly. It's a light coat. Getting all the edges especially. I'm pretty happy with it now. And also do the little cookies as well. Gotta get everything cohesive. Now I'm going to take my hot glue and just gently put some glue all over the back, all the letters, just real quick, because this hot glue sets up quickly. Now I'm going to place it on the very top, and I'm going to take one of these little cookies and put it where the O is, and then I'm going to take the other little cookie and just place it down here on the bottom of this easel, make it look like it just fell out. And I'm going to take a little bow that I made with the gingham ribbon and this piece of raffia that came from a Dollar Tree sign, putting them together to make it look high end, and adding a little dab of glue and placing it right on the middle on the bottom right here. Now I had this little flower in my stash, a little random flower. I'm just going to add some hot glue and place it on this side just to give it a little bit of floral, and now I'm pretty happy with it. Now for this other part of my DIY, I'm taking a little rolling pin that I happen to have in my stash, painting it with the jack-o'-lantern orange color, and now here is some fabric that I got from Crafter Square, Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to take a little piece. I really like this fabric because it's got some leaves, flowers, and acorns. It's perfect for autumn, and I'm just going to cut this little piece. It's actually bigger than what I need, but I'll always utilize the extra at another time. So we'll see this again for sure. So I'm taking this little piece here, making sure it's going to fit. It's actually too big, so I'm just going to go ahead and snip off a little bit more. It's always better to be too big than not big enough. You can always snip away. You can't usually add to it. Well, you can, but it's easier to just snip off. Okay, so here is my Mod Podge in the mat. I'm going to give it a nice, decent coat. This is going to be my glue, my adhesive, and it's also going to get my fabric nice and stiff. So now here's my little rolling pin. I'm just going to press it down on it and kind of pull up the fabric and then just roll. Now I did make too much of this, so I'm just going to snip off what I don't need, and we will see this at another time. Now taking my brush and adding some more of Mod Podge to seal everything up. Nice generous coat like this. And now I'm going to place this on a piece of parchment paper so it'll dry and set. Now here is that piece of ribbon that I cut off earlier, and I'm going to use this, the little edge, I'm going to use this to embellish the edges of my rolling pin. Snip off what I don't need, and then take some hot glue, go away all around like this, and pressing it down and around, and then I'll do the same thing to the other side as well. So I'm going to have a little rolling pin with my cookies. Just, yeah, why not? These are little tier tray kind of embellishments, or you could put them on a shelf. They could be shelf sitters for sure. So So now here is some more hot glue and going around and tacking it down nice and tight. Perfect. Now I'm going to take some ribbon and just make a couple of quick little bows. And these will just go on the sides of my rolling pin. Now, of course, you can leave this out if you're not crazy about bows, but I like my bows. I like my embellishments, so I'm going to add them. But yeah, if you don't like bows, just leave them out. It's so simple. Now I'm going to dovetail the ends to make it look super cute and high end. And I'm just going to take some hot glue and add a little dab and press it on the side. And then I take another little bow and do the same thing to the other side. And now my little rolling pin is complete. And now I can place it with my little cookie display. And here's how they look and a closer look at the final reveal. If you're on Instagram, here's my QR code. I invite you to scan it and come follow me on there. I post on there Monday through Fridays, as well as TikTok. Here's my QR code for there. Here is my QR code for Facebook, also Monday through Fridays, as well as my Pinterest. Here's my QR code for there. And here's my Lemonade account as well. And my Threads account. This is my handle, also Monday through Fridays. Here's my Home Talk QR code. I invite you to come scan it. Post on there twice a month. I do have a Facebook crafting group. I invite you to come join us there. And now we're at the final reveal. Let me know what you think and which one is your favorite one. Well, I'd like to take a moment and express my gratitude for you guys taking time out of your busy day to watch my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys were able to receive some kind of inspiration, some kind of idea to help you with your fall DIYs. I love fall. Fall is such a wonderful time, and I do enjoy crafting for fall. And of course, I want to thank my friends Norma and Diane for supplying me with such wonderful crafting supplies. Some of these would not be able to be made without you guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. And until my next video, stay healthy, safe, and strong, and have a great day and weekend. Bye-bye.